Hi, I'm Donny Most, and stay tuned for a special Long Island view right here on Long Island Cablevision, Channel 20.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Long Island View. I'm Tom Mealy.
I am Tommy Moore.
Tommy, I say time and time again that the Long Island View, we have brought more entertainment to the internet that's going on Long Island than I can remember. So many people have come through, and today, our guest today, other than being known all over the world, we're going to talk about what he's done in the past. We're going to talk about what's new in the future. How's your week going?
It's been a great week, but this is great because this is part of every American family. This show, right?
I think this was part of history.
Absolutely.
If we really start to think about it.
About it.
And we're going to introduce him in a few seconds, but first we got to build it up just a little bit here. I think it's history.
Absolutely.
Is it not?
Yeah, it is. It's part of all of our lives.
And to have him live here in the Madhouse studio is really a pleasure. And, like I said, we're going to get into the past, but then we're going to fast forward and we're going to talk about the future. So, you know what? I'm going to give you the pleasure. By the way, you're looking handsome today.
Thanks, pal.
Nice jacket, nice boots.
Hey,
You're looking good.
The big guns are coming in tonight, so
Oh, so you got to. Okay, all right. Look at me. I decided to dress down a little bit.
Yeah, nice
but anyway,
jacket.
hey, listen.
Nice jacket.
I was going to wear it, but you know what? I don't want to clash with you. You're looking marvelous today. It's marvelous. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Tommy.
It is my extreme pleasure to introduce a guy that anybody within my age bracket has been part of our families for a long time. And it is really a great pleasure because he's a great guy to introduce Donny Most.
Donny.
Well, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction.
In the Madhouse, I got to tell you, it's we've been blasting it out to all the followers of this show for the past week, and a lot of people are tuned in right now and exciting to see you here. I know that our troops overseas are watching tonight as well. So
that's awesome.
It's a real honor for us to have you down here. We got a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah.
I want to just go back because everybody knows you, obviously, from one of the biggest hits that were ever on television. 40 million people a week tuned in to watch, Donny Most, Ron Howard,
Winkler,
Henry, the
couple little
Tom,
names,
40 million people. That was
an average.
That was crazy.
It was crazy. Because the young people won't know this as much, but back then there were only three. Prime time. It was the three networks. You didn't have cable. You didn't have internet. You didn't have any
and most households had one television.
Yeah, a lot of them had one television.
Really?
Well,
I remember.
Yeah, by the time we were on, maybe average might have been two.
Nothing like now. 32 televisions.
It turned into color. It wasn't like I Love Lucy.
No, yeah.
I'm curious.
Past that.
The last show you guys did, what was the number on that show?
Well, I wasn't there because Ron Howard and I left after the 7th season, and then they did 4 more years. So I wasn't there for that very last show. So I don't know. They must have gotten pretty big numbers, but I remember there were some shows when we were number one for a while, and there might have been 50 million people.
Yeah.
And you think about that, it was like maybe 1 out of every 4 people in the country were watching.
That's what I said. This is a family member.
Amazing.
He's a family member.
Now, at that time, when you guys were doing the show, did you have any concept? How did you feel about getting on and knowing that many people would actually stop what they're doing come home from work to sit down, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever it went on, to actually watch it? How did it?
It's hard to fathom and really comprehend it, the magnitude of that. I was 20 when the show started, so when we really hit, it was by the third season, and I was 23. It's very heady stuff, and you kind of don't really. I don't think you can fully grasp what's going on, and it started happening. When everywhere I would go, people would recognize me, and it got to the point, and that's, people think, well, isn't that great? And yeah, it was great at the beginning, and when it first happens, but then when your entire life becomes altered dramatically, it's not just once in a while. It got to the point where I almost became a hermit for a while, where I didn't want to go anywhere, and go out, and because it wasn't just once in a while, and you had like almost no privacy at all, and it was very strange adapting to that and making the
But you
transition.
were actually fortunate in those days compared to now. Now, they want to catch you falling down. They want to catch you looking bad. It's horrible. It's horrible.
We didn't have the paparazzi kind of thing
It's horrible.
that there's now. So we were fortunate, I guess, in that regard. But it was tricky and hard to, like I said, comprehend what you were saying. I was still surprised, when people would say things to me. It was like, wow, even here in wherever I was, Iowa. Or,
I'm sure you still get it.
You go to different parts of the country, and then it's like, oh wow, yeah, they're seeing me here too, and they're seeing everywhere, and then it starts to hit you. It's crazy.
It's a little surreal in a way.
Yeah.
It's got to be. Your favorite episode, your favorite remembrance of Happy Days, what would that be?
Well, two different questions: favorite episode and favorite remembrance. Episode, probably the one. It was the first show that my character was a real integral part of the story. Where up in the first two seasons, my part grew from it was real supporting at the beginning, peripheral, and then it grew during the first two seasons. But it wasn't until it was the first episode of the third season. It was the first one aired of the third season, I think, where they wrote a show that my character was, integral and a main aspect of the story. And it was the one where Fonzie found his motorcycle totally destroyed, and he was out to get the one who did it, and turns out that I had accidentally run over it, and then I freaked out, and then
I remember that one.
And I like backed up, and I didn't know what to do, and I just demolished it. So I was like, I was going to head west, to leave. I was leaving town because I was freaking out that, he'd find out it was me, and so it was a really well written episode that gave me a chance as an actor for the first time that show to really flex some muscles, and so that was probably my favorite episode. I mean, there were a lot of other great episodes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
A lot.
Sure
but that
you
one,
guys were a family there. I mean, it had to be
there were a lot of great episodes.
What is your fondest memory?
The fondest memories I have are just, I remember, besides working together as a team, and with our director, Jerry Paris, Gary Marshall too. Gary was our executive producer, but Jerry was with us day in and day out, and he was a brilliant man.
He did the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah, he directed most of the Dick Van Dyke shows and played the next door neighbor, Jerry Helper.
Right.
And he was a brilliant director, funny man, and all of us, I just loved the feeling of the collaboration and the camaraderie because we got along so well, and working together to make everything as good as it can be.
I wanted to bring that up because that is a great thing about that show, that just about everybody that was on that show became such really good adults and not all the problems like,
Right.
you know, we can go
Yes.
through the horrors of the other shows. And it's really, you know, you could tell there was a camaraderie and a common respect for each other in that show.
Yeah,
You know, am I
did-
right?
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
all respected each other and cared for each other, supported each other, and grew to love each other.
And were the Mr. and Mrs. Cunningham actually kind of like, you know, because she seems to be such a beautiful person. You know,
Oh,
I mean,
she's
she must be like
amazing.
just a sweetheart, right?
She is a wonderful lady,
Yeah.
and vibrant and sweet.
Yeah.
And Tom was a great guy. Unfortunately, he passed away 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. But they were like, you know, like surrogate parents
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
And I didn't have, you know, I didn't know too many. I knew hardly anyone on the West Coast when we were doing the show.
Did
And,
you have any pranksters? You know, like who was the prankster?
Well, Jerry Paris was
Yeah.
the biggest prankster probably on the show, and I'm trying to think, not more so than nobody in the cast. Henry a little bit, yeah, Henry.
I
Sometimes.
could see that, but you know, I don't want to stay too much with Happy Days
Yeah.
because I want to get into. Donnie's got so much stuff happening here, here on Long Island. But before we get into that, I want to play one clip.
Sure.
And then we're going to end the Happy Days thing. Janine, can we have that clip from Happy Days, please?
Don't forget that Bond's real. I mean, it's not important. I figured I'd hang it in the barracks and cheer up the guys.
Mal, you're not going to hang these up at any barracks because you're not going to join the Marines. Just take all this stuff home, okay?
But Fonzie, not join? I'm all packed. You told me it was the right thing to do.
Look, I know what I told you to do, but when I told you to do that, I was... Ralph, I was not exactly right.
What do you mean, not right?
I mean, not right.
I don't get you. You mean you were wrong?
Yeah, that's right, Malf. I was what you just said I was just then, yeah.
Wrong? The Fonz wrong?
Malf, look. There is a first time for everything, huh?
I don't understand, Fonz. How could you be wrong about a thing like
Look,
that?
I don't understand it myself, Ralph. I don't understand it myself. I was under a lot of pressure. I was under a lot of cars, too. 2 of them were Etzels. Maybe the pressure was getting to me. I don't know.
No, Fonzie. You might have been under a lot of cars, but you weren't wrong. You were right. Everything you said about me was true. I'm useless around here. I gotta join. Everybody hates me. I'll see you.
Malf! I didn't tell you why I was,
Wrong?
I didn't tell you why you shouldn't join the Marines.
Why shouldn't I go, Fonzie? I mean, tell me.
Because if you join the Marines, I'm gonna miss you.
Miss me? But Fonz, you're always telling me to get lost and to sit on it. You even told me I was useless.
Ralphie, don't you know when I'm joshing?
Amazing. What did you think of that? That was hilarious. You got to
Yeah,
admit,
I remember-
Fonzie never or
Henry.
never ever
Like you.
apologized to any like me. This is true. This is true. But he never apologized to anybody.
Yeah,
That was great.
It was a fun episode. That was another one of my favorites that revolved around my character. I remember that one.
You're here on Long Island.
Yes.
You've got some big stuff coming.
Yeah, I'm
And-
excited.
Folks, I got to tell you something. We've had 3 different venues where Donnie's going to be playing. They're here on Long Island. They're a trip into a beautiful dinner club in New Jersey. First place you're going to be is the Iridium,
The
which
Iridium.
is in 2 days.
Yes, my gosh.
2
it
days
is in
from
2
now.
days.
2 days from
Tuesday
now.
night, yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited. I've heard it's a great venue.
It's you'll love it.
Yeah.
You'll love it. You're up close and personal with the audience. The audience loves it. I love going to the Iridium. We do some stuff from there.
Yeah.
And I know Ron, Ron Sturm, and he's a great guy. Their staff is phenomenal.
Oh, great.
People,
That's-
great sound people in there. I mean, you're gonna love it.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
It's an historical place. Just being there. I mean, it's Les Paul's home. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
it's-
the funny thing is that building, it's 1650 Broadway. When I was first starting to sing and all that, I went to take lessons, classes, It was a guy, an old vaudevillian named Charlie Lowe, who taught kids and teenagers and his wife, and they had a studio where, and I went from Brooklyn, I would take the subway into the city. I was 14 years old and by myself and go, where was it, 1650 Broadway.
Wow.
Not only the same building, I'd go in the elevator, I remember, and I'd go down to the basement where the studio was. And somebody told me that the Iridium is downstairs on 1650 Broadway.
Yeah.
Right?
It's level. You walk in, you walk down.
You walk down. It's probably, I bet you, I can't.
You'll freak out then.
It might be the same space.
That is the circle of life.
Yes.
Right there.
Isn't that amazing?
I've never been to the Iridium.
Yeah.
I've never once been down there.
It's just being there and knowing what's happened and who's
In
been there.
that particular-
It's that
those
whole.
walls.
It's like the Beacon.
Yeah.
Not
I
the
can't wait.
size-wise, but it's that feeling when you walk in and the first thing you see, they have Les Paul's seat right there that he played right up until right before he passed away. And a big giant thing of the whole wall is Les Paul. And
Yeah.
You
I
think of
saw
all the
pictures.
guys who just walking off the street, Keith, everybody went there. Jimmy Page, everybody would walk in there.
And now Donny Most.
And now
And now
Donny
me.
Most, that's,
And
you
now
know,
Donny.
Yeah, because I'm
What
doing.
took you from acting? I mean, you're a strong actor. I never heard you sing on anything that you've been in.
Yeah.
I know that your love was singing.
Yeah, well, before acting,
Yeah.
I was taking those classes, and then as a result of that, I got into a professional group through that studio, and I was singing up in the Catskill Mountains when I was 15 years old during the summer.
What place? I'm just
All the hotels up there,
Browns and
Grossingers,
Grossingers.
Browns, Tamarack,
Yeah, the Red
Nevele.
Apple Rest wasn't that?
I don't remember that one.
In
Nevele.
The Nevele, all of those, the Pines
Right,
Hotel.
right.
So we played all those. So I was singing before I was acting, and I loved the big band sound and the jazz standards and Sinatra and Bobby Darin was my favorite back then, and still I loved Bobby. I saw him at the Copacabana when I was 18, and he was amazing. He could do anything, and so that's what I wanted. About a year ago, I decided to start doing what I've always wanted to do, and create an act with the music that I love, and the jazz, the swing, and all that, and with the arrangements that I loved, and great musicians, and one thing led to another, and I've been doing clubs in L.A., Chicago,
Well,
San
I saw
Diego.
you 4 years ago with out east when we were over at the amphitheater.
Right.
You were singing then.
I did a little bit then.
A little bit, yeah.
Because that was I was more the sort of the host. It was a doo-wop show
Right.
mainly, but I did a little bit. I did some doo-wop, and I was able to work in one of Bobby's songs that I still do, which I won't say the name, but everyone probably will know because it's more in the swing field.
Right.
But now, yeah, that's how I met Willie.
Willie, fabulous,
That's how I met
unbelievable
Will-
sax player.
Because Willie, who was the one who brought me in to do that
Right.
show, Willie Scapatone, I thought of Willie to be my musical director when I said I'm going to start doing this kind of music, which is what I really loved. So Willie and I have been working together, and so I got the Iridium on Tuesday, and then 5 days later on the 12th, we're in the Jersey Shore in Asbury Park and McClune Supper Club on July 12th, and then we're back here on Long Island on the 25th of July in Port Jefferson at Theater 3.
Let's talk about Port Jefferson because that's going to be the great show. I mean, they're
Yeah.
all going to be great show, folks, but this one, I just want to let you know that
Down the road, right?
Madhouse TV will be streaming this live all over the world. We'll be sending out the links that you'll be able to get onto, and our soldiers. I know you guys watch us every single week. God bless you. Tune in. You're going to be able to see a great show. Tell us a little about the show. What is it going to entail at Theater 3?
Well, it's going to be similar to what I'm doing at the Iridium, although we'll have a few more musicians. It'll be even bigger, and it's all the great, Sinatra and Dean Martin and Darren kind of stuff. But then there's some more obscure, and Count Basie, Joe Williams kind of music, and Nat King Cole, and some that aren't as well known that I've discovered that are just great swinging stuff, and almost like jump blues and jive.
I love that music.
You know,
I gotta
have
tell you.
being a singer, I have a question for you. In your collaboration and designing your set list, are you collaborating with Willie? Are you picking songs? I mean, how are you getting your influence? I mean, obviously you have been influenced from a very young age.
Yeah.
But I mean, are other people say, hey, try this one, and then, I'm just curious because I know he's on the East Coast, you're on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Are you on the phone constantly, or?
I get very heady about that because I do consult with Willie when I'm sort of on the fence on stuff. But I have because I know this music even more than Willie plays it brilliantly.
Right.
But in terms of what I know it more, and I mean the library of stuff.
Right.
And then we'll get to a point where I'll say I'm not sure whether to do this one or this one, and then we'll talk about that. And I'll send him stuff. I'll say, listen to this one. What do you think? And I definitely seek out his opinion.
So
but
basically, you're designing your own set list.
Yeah, I really am so
Which
into.
is good.
I'm very into also not what songs I do.
In the order.
The order.
Right,
I'm
absolutely.
really
Makes
into
a
that.
big difference.
You know, I'm not a singer by no. I mean, like, you want me to hear me sing? You don't want to hear me sing, but I don't understand. I don't. It was Happy Birthday.
I know.
But everybody can sing Happy Birthday.
That was nice.
But I don't understand it. What is so important about
The order?
doing
Oh,
the order
it's-
of a set list?
Oh my God.
Well, first of all, I don't know.
Go ahead.
I mean, for me,
Yeah.
it's vocally. I'm probably a much different singer than he is, so I have to do certain songs at certain points of the night, and else I'm out. You know, what I mean, like, if I do like Zeppelin stuff at the end, it's I'm not going.
So you're saying you're going to do the strong,
And
you do the
it's
strongest
more-
stuff first,
it's
and you do
more
the strongest
the,
stuff later on.
the
Is that what we're
movement, the
talking about?
movement of the audience and keeping the, building it, right? And
and-
you can't bring them up and then just drop them down.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways to take the journey, to take them on a journey, and I think that's a very subjective, individual thing for the artist. For me, it's like I was always into this, even from the time when they first came out with cassettes, and you could make your own, record your own like playlist. Back in this, this is in the what?
That used to be a
late
dating thing,
60s,
right? The
early-
girls used to give you.
Yeah, I guess, but I was into like putting songs in a certain order.
Right.
And it was like, oh, this sounds great after this. Oh, this doesn't sound, and almost like a DJ or something.
Very true. It's very true.
And I was into that then. Now, as doing it for performance, even more so, I'm like, and it's usually just a visceral feeling. And then knowing, okay, now it's time for the ballad, and
Right.
now come back with this. And then to some degree also vocally what, I don't want to kill myself by doing 5 songs in a row that might just really
That's what I'm talking
eat me up.
See, I
But
like listening to
now-
you every day.
Your finale song has to be either your favorite song to sing,
Right.
or the song that you feel you sing the best, or the song that you feel will lead the people in the right.
Yeah, hopefully all 3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, the finale song is always you got to. That's got to be.
But that one's an easy one for me. And if people come see the show, they'll understand why. Because I also like to talk
That's good.
about things in between. It's not just one song after.
Yeah.
I tell some stories, Happy Days related, but also about the music and why the context for it and the influences that brought me to it and a little history behind it.
And how was your family with? I mean, they're all for it all the way?
Oh yeah.
Because that's important also.
Sure. I mean, my wife's been incredibly supportive, and my kids, they've seen the show a few times, and then a lot of my cousins and.
Because I mean, now you're traveling, a lot more. And,
Well, now you're originally from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Now you have family here, obviously in Brooklyn. You're staying with family while you're out here. on
I'm
the
not
East
staying with
Coast.
family right now. I'm actually staying at a friend's house, but I'll have some of a lot of my cousins have already and Uncle and Aunt have seen the show, but some are going to be coming again, and then some ones that hadn't gotten a chance to see it, because I was at 54 Below back in December. And
Wait, is that ice place in the city?
The what place?
It's an ice. Is that the ice?
Yeah.
54 Below. Where is it?
It's where Studio 54 used to be. It's below. That's where,
Okay. All right. So it's a different.
and
place.
it's a really nice supper club. A lot of Broadway people play there, but some jazz as well. And it's a beautiful club. So I played there twice. Those are the two places in New York, and now the Iridium. So
we've gone past Happy Days. We're right here now in 2015. Where do you see Donny Most 5 years from now, 6 years from now?
That's a great question. Well, I have several. I don't want to step away completely at all from the acting and directing. I've directed 3 independent films, and I have 4 projects right now that I'm actively trying to get set up to get made, so that I can direct those. And I just acted in an independent film, a psychological thriller called Follow, and it was a very different kind of role for me. And it really gave me, and I've done a few other indie films in the last few years, so I'm really having strong itch to do more in front of the camera again. So I want to do, so in 5 years from now, I'm hoping I'm directing and acting, and then somehow fitting the music in.
What about bringing the two together?
Yeah.
The acting and the music.
Yeah, that would be great.
I mean, that would be a beautiful thing. I mean,
have to figure out the right.
How do you get into that with the music and the acting?
The right script.
You could even play someone. You could do a Bobby Darin or something.
Yeah, with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, I know.
Although I was pitching that as a movie 30 years before
Really?
Kevin Spacey was at Paramount Studios when I was doing Happy Days, and we moved up the ladder. I was with Darin's old manager, Steve Blauner, and we moved up the ladder at Paramount, but then ultimately they wouldn't green light it, and then 30 years later Kevin did it. But you're right. I mean, maybe it's playing somebody, or it's coming up with a great script that combines
have they
the
ever
music.
thought about doing a movie about Donny Most? I mean, let's
I mean,
face
there it is right there.
Seriously,
You go
because
from the
I gotta be
acting to
honest
the
with you.
movie about
I
me?
mean, why not? I mean,
Why not?
they've done them before about other people. I
I
gotta
don't
tell you,
think I'm
20
there.
years old. No, I think you are.
We're
20
sitting here and asking these questions as because we're inquisitive.
Because I would definitely go and see it. I mean, you start Happy Days at 20 years old. 20 years old, we were kids.
Yeah.
We were 20 years old. That's and now as adults, I mean, the transformation from that, and then coming up through that, going back to your love of singing, getting out on stage, to where you are today.
And
I
not
know
only that,
I would watch it. I mean, I would see it.
but not only that too. Like I said, you're a part of everyone's family.
Yeah,
Right.
everybody
No one wants to see what they're on. Everybody wants to see
and I
they're
think
cheering
that
for
people
you.
would want to see where. I mean, when I was telling people that you were going to be on here, show, what
play.
time? I got to make sure. I got to set my alarm clock. I got to do this. And guys, you're watching out there today, but everybody that we attack through social media, which is phenomenal. I mean, literally tens upon tens of thousands of people that we have the ability to reach. The emails back and the responses and the messages back, what time? How do I get on? Can you send me the link, et cetera, et cetera. So to see Donny at 20 or 19 and even maybe before that up to where you are today and get you up there and start singing?
I got a good idea for you, Di.
Yeah.
How about a Broadway and start at the beginning and end it with the
I
singing?
mean, you can do it.
That would be
a
cool.
Broadway show.
Yeah.
All right.
You tell a few Happy Day stories.
Oh,
you
you
go
mean like-
through that
oh, you
part
mean
of your
like-
life.
oh, you mean like
and
a
the
one-
next thing you know,
We got about a minute left, and then when we
one-man
come back,
show.
we're actually going to give you a treat. When we come back, we're going to have Donny get up and sing a little bit for you. But, Donny, before we go out,
Right.
all right, there's one thing that I think you still have,
Right.
and one thing I know you know what I'm thinking.
No.
So, if you look at that camera and tell me what you said after every show, come on.
I still got it.
There you go. We'll be back. Thank you so much for watching the Long Island View. Good night.
Hi, I'm Donny Most, and stay tuned for a special Long Island View right here on Long Island Cablevision, Channel 20.